and they are very interesting. We are live. Yes, yes, yes. So we are live. We have the wonderful Samantha. Samantha, can you please express your last name to us, please?
Lencioni Carapia.
Lencioni. Carapia. Nice. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And of course, as always, we have an amazing Samantha. You're in for an awesome treat, even though we're in for a treat, Samantha, because you're our guest today. Thank you so much for blessing us with your patience and your
Absolutely.
time to be with us. But our amazing host, who I can't brag about enough, in Kimberly, she is a true rock star. The only thing missing is a cape at this point. But oh my God, Kimberly, you're so wonderful. Thank you so much for gracing us with the time to be our host. We are waiting for one more, but in the meantime, Joseph is here. Yes, Joseph is here.
Hey.
Joseph is in
What's
the
up?
building. How you doing, brother? Good to see you, man.
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing great. Your timing is impeccable. In fact, it's impeccable. Now, what I would like to do, because we have audience members that are jumping on here, Joseph, we've added Samantha's IG, and what I would like to do, because people are going to want to harass you and talk to you and get to know you because they want your blessings and your superpowers to help them with their deals. If it's okay, Joseph, do you have an IG? And if you do, I would like to spread it out to the world. What's your IG, Joseph?
Yeah, my IG is Joe Cohen Inspires.
Okay, spell that out for me. Joe as in Joe.
JoeCohenIn. Yeah, Inspires.
Beautiful. Tell me if that looks good, Joe.
That looks good.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, and so for those in the chat, Joseph is another one of our wonderful guests. We're going to hear his story. We're going to hear Samantha's story, both of them together. It's going to be great. Joseph, you're blessed to be in wonderful hands with our wonderful host in Kimberly. I'm going to be moderating in the background. So you guys have at it and enjoy yourselves.
Awesome.
Well, thanks, Derek. And as always, a big shout out goes to the Morby Media team. They are so magnificent and marvelous. Like, they do so much work to pull these interviews off. It takes a small army. So thanks to Taya and Derek and everyone behind the scenes for making this possible. I'm Kim. I'm your Tuesday Live at 5 host. And I have two sides. My real estate side, I close and hold. I consult on lending and care homes, and I capital connect. And then my entrepreneur side, or as I call nursepreneur side, I am a nurse by trade. 22 years. I've been in healthcare for 32, and I coach. I'm a CPR instructor. I'm a keynote speaker, a podcast host. I have a ministry here in Southwest Michigan, and I am on my second story that is going to be published here soon. So I call myself the chameleon of all things. And today I have the pleasure of hosting Samantha and Joe. Where'd Joe go? So we're gonna
Technical difficulties.
So thank you all for joining us. It just gives everybody a chance to organically learn about what we're doing here in the community. And poof, Shazam! Welcome back, Joe.
Doing some crazy little magic tricks for you.
Yeah, what's up with I'm wondering, is your sound, do you need to go backstage and do a sound check? You sound a little bit broken up a little bit, but we can work with it. Like, this is improv, there's no script, and so that's what makes these things so candid and fun, because you never know what's going to happen on live. So first, Samantha, I'm going to start with you. Give us the Cliff Note version, the 411, about how you got into this, what you were doing before you actually got into real estate investing, and then we'll dive into Joe, and then we'll ask him the same thing, and then we'll just go back and forth.
Okay, so I use a PMP, not a private money partner, but a professional, a project management professional for a capital investment company for the last 5 years or so. I used to run crews and jobs, and we flipped about, I don't know, they bought about 8,000 assets between Florida, North Carolina, Georgia, and Tennessee. So we were managing those projects, making sure start to finish, doing scopes, budgets, and reporting on them, and making sure they went to finish to rent. So then when the interest rates spiked in September of 2023, I lost my job. And my best friend and business partner, Jessica Hoberg, she already had the sub-2 mentorship. So she's like, Sam, do this. So I started it. By December, we made $64,000 in assignments on two properties in Arizona and Jacksonville. Like 2 months later, and of course, like I have kids and I lost my job, and I'm like, oh my god, how am I going to get presents? You know. But it ended up working out beautifully. Like I was like, I am never working for anybody else in my entire life. Like it was just beautiful. So then, so that's how I started. Was in September of 2023 with the Sub 2 mentorship, and 2 months later, just doing the calls. I was running inbound ads on Facebook, and that's how I got my leads, and that's how I started closing deals and wholesaling, and now I've gotten into like more difficult things, but that's how I started.
Like Facebook Marketplace and Facebook just period, like it's so people don't realize about like what you can do on Facebook. So you had this kind of the background before going into it with project management and real estate. Did you do anything prior to that? Was it always in that space?
So I used to work for a private investor who had a cluster of homes in Chicago. I moved from Chicago to Georgia recently. So
you're my neighbor. I'm Southwest Michigan. So
oh my gosh, I miss the food so much. Can you go get me a taco from like a regular place? Like, because there's nothing here, bullshit food here. But yes, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's so cool. I love Michigan. I used to go to Kalamazoo all the time with my family, and I love Michigan. So beautiful. So beautiful.
You know, a girl after my own heart. I won't call you a FIP. No, I'm just. You could be a fabulous Illinois person. You could be a freak. I mean, you make it up, right?
In my soul, I am. I know, and my husband will laugh at me because I wanted to move to Georgia so bad because I'm like, okay, look, I'm like thin, but not on purpose, and I get cold, and like my whole body tenses up, and I'm like, I can't be in this bullshit anymore. I cannot handle another Chicago winter, and so we moved out. But now I can't handle Southern people. So
you guys will hate the weather in California, that's for sure.
Why? Why?
It's too predictable. Unlike being by the lake, where Lake Michigan controls the weather, and you get lake effect and snow squalls and ice, and so and you have kids, and so how old are your kids? So you're in the South. So where at in the South? You're in Georgia? Did you mention?
I'm in Kennesaw, so I'm like a little bit. God, I can't remember geographically retarded. East, like I want to say, I'm east of Atlanta.
Okay,
northeast.
That's a hot market. That's really big. I heard that like, what was it, like 80% of houses in Atlanta metro are leased, and
yes,
wow,
they have something where they
a lot of renters.
They had something where they made the major companies give up 1% of their inventory because of that issue, because of that very issue. Yeah,
I exactly. Heard that. Wow, yeah. Awesome. So we know you're a superwoman. So how about you, Joe? or can I call you Joe? Do you have a preference, Joseph, or you like to be formal, Mr. Cohen, or?
Yeah. No, you could call me Joe. I actually am just using the Joseph as a business professional name. You know, it's kind of one of those things is you get more, seasoned. I like to call it. I don't like to tell myself old. I'm just seasoned. And, when people look at your, Instagram and all of that kind of stuff like that, you just want it to all correlate. Joe is an easy name to remember, but Joseph is a biblical name, and I'm starting to take a better liking to it.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us a Cliff Note version of what you were doing before you got into the community. And your sound sounds amazing. Whatever you did,
much better.
You fixed it. Yes. It sounded like Rice Krispie, like treats popping with your mouth open.
Yeah. I just got these headsets, so that means I got to return them to Amazon and get a new headset because this is supposed to be like super high quality. So it just goes to show that I'm actually probably having a bad experience on my closing calls. So I got to make that experience a little bit better. But what I was doing before I jumped into the community was I was a real estate investor. And so, but I'm a unicorn agent, as we call it in our community. I've been a licensed real estate agent since 2002. Been in the industry since 2001. I started as a junior loan officer agent kind of situation where I had to prove myself in order to get to the licensing program. So one day I went to an interview. They told me to call a stack of leads, and I got 3 appointments out of that stack of leads in that first day. And they said, "You're hired."
I bet they said you were hired because ABC always be closing.
That's right. That's right. So built a career in the real estate and loan business from 2001 to 2008. And as you guys all probably know, there was a little bit of a market crash in that area. So added another license to my portfolio of products, and I became a licensed insurance agent as well. So I've been doing real estate, mortgage, and insurance for the last 22 years. Wow, it's crazy how time flies. But during that time, I was very consumer minded. I want to point that out. Like, I was not thinking like a real estate investor, and it wasn't until 2020 that I started to retrain myself and look at things from a different perspective. And so I joined a community with Tariq El Moussa. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the flip or flop guy, right? We worked together for a solid year and a half, just helping me build my business. And over that time frame, I flipped 5 homes. So that was a very good experience for me. But as the interest rates changed, the flip market has also changed, and the residential real estate market has changed a lot. So I had to adapt, and I had to kind of have some foresight and some vision. And I saw that the community at Sub 2 community was actually doing deals. They're doing deals with each other. They weren't just, hey, I'm here to learn and maybe I'll do a deal with the community. No, everybody's got like their sleeves rolled up, and how can I help you get into more deals? And that's what I really wanted to get to scale my business. So I was super excited about that.
Wow, you guys are like the OGs. Like, this is amazing. Like, that it must be really like how you said you had to prove yourself. It was like when I started off in nursing, like you just didn't go to the ICU. You had to have a process. Now it's just like everyone can go anywhere because there's a shortage, right? Supply and demand. And I like how you mentioned market, because so many things change that you can't control. But that's why exits to exits are so important, because you can do a CMA and have all these different things. And if you're not thinking like that investor and you're thinking a certain way with how it's worked before in the past, it always doesn't come to fruition. So that's some awesome, emotional, intelligent kind of thinking coming from your background of being a unicorn and morphing into all these things. Like, you guys are amazingly have such an upper hand coming into a community like this, because you're already experienced too. So you talk the talk and walk the walk. And so I bet you did you guys find that having that kind of experience just really leveled you up, and you were able to scale much faster because you kind of knew the talk per se? And Samantha, you can go.
No, I didn't know shit about closing a real estate deal. I never even seen an escrow. I didn't know what it meant, like the words, the vocabulary, like where Pace goes through the whole, like when you go through the Morby method, or not, maybe not the first 10 videos. I'm watching them, and I had to literally, I didn't know anything. Like, I know construction. I'm a construction girl. I could tell you anything construction wise. Like, I can talk that talk in a second. But as far as closing a house, it's a different situation in my world.
True. Yes. Yeah, no, it is. Right. You forget there's so many ways to make money in real estate. You forget about all the different algorithms that you can plop yourself in. Yeah.
Seriously. And I was open. My mind was open, and I was so glad, because I didn't buy my primary house. I'm still renting my house. I'm about to get a house, 2% interest in Fleming Island, that I negotiated a seller finance deal with, that I'm just ecstatic about. Yeah, amazing. But I didn't buy my primary house because I had a bankruptcy on my record probably 15 years ago, but it didn't fall off until like 2 years ago. And then all of a sudden I'm getting all these loan places that want to come and help me, and oh, you're approved already. And I'm like, you know what? Now I know better, and I know how to get the housing market better. So now I'm going into it, and I'm happy that I didn't get approved before, because now I have all these different avenues and ways to be able to purchase homes without having to do it traditionally, and all the BS that goes with it. So yes,
that part.
It's
right.
It's actually funny that you mentioned that, because it's so funny how there are so many people that think that once they have a bankruptcy or they have a bad credit, that they're just stuck with not being able to buy a home.
Right.
And there's so many different ways to do it. There's credit cleanup. There's programs out there that actually can get that bankruptcy deleted from your credit.
Yeah.
And it's a process, but you don't know that unless you're in a community with people that are kind of like helping you teach that, right? Or help teach you that, right? And that's something that I'm actually learning right now as we speak from one of the community members. We're going through a credit rebuild program for not just, you know, my personal credit, but for my business credit. So then that way I could start capitalizing my business and doing more private money lending, doing more deals that way, but also helping me acquire more properties, because that's really what the name of the game is the acquisitions, right?
Do you want to disclose who you're using for the business build? I just was having a conversation with another investor, and I've interviewed 2 different companies for that. The white glove service, pay for convenience and speed, do it for me. Here you go. So what's your experience been?
Yeah, I'm actually working with Terrence Spencer. He's a part of the Sub2 community. He and I are local here in Orange County, California. He just, basically kind of like got into the Credit Suisse program, and he's developed a business called Expandemonium, and we're just kind of barely, scratching the surface. I literally signed up for it on Monday, and we're now kind of getting the profile started. I've already been a part of the PCS credit building program, and that was really good for me personally. But like you said, Kimberly, it was more of a do-it-yourself kind of thing, where you probably want somebody to kind of hold your hand through the process, and that's what I believe I'm getting with Expandemonium and the Credit Suisse program.
Right. And that's what's really cool too, is because depending on what season you're at in the investing journey, you can pay for speed, you can delegate, validate, navigate, depending on where you're at. Like personally, I want to pay for speed for my time because my time is valuable. So here, take my money, Expandemonium. Like that is such a cool name. And Tay, I love this convo, right? Sammy, you're already getting like shout outs and
oh my God. That's
you have like a whole fan club.
Tina's on here. She's an amazing transaction coordinator. And then I got Mac with me, who's my like partner in all things. Like he's amazing. Like I met so many great people in the Sub2 community, and they're just so like wonderful. Like we all work together. We all bring deals together. No one's like, there's no shadiness or any kind of like we're all very open and like honest, and we share, everything. Like, so it's like, it's better to share watermelon with friends and eat grapes alone type thing. That's a total thing here. And I love Mac and love Tina. Everyone's awesome. Everyone's awesome.
So true, because a lot of when I was doing this before, when I was building my business from basically the ground up, I got into VAs, I got into dialing machines, I got into 3 different CRMs, doing 3 different things, doing Facebook ads, social media ads, all these different things, and I was spending like $2,500 a month out the door.
Absolutely.
Right?
Easy.
And I wasn't, I was also managing it all by myself. So I was just like, always just kind of constantly what's gonna work. Right. And so basically now with the Sub2 community, I'm able to get those tools back through partnerships. Yes. So I just signed a partnership with another Sub2 community member. He's in San Diego. I'm in Orange County. That's like an hour and a half away, but we connected through a meetup in the community. And I asked him, how can I help you scale? And he asked me the same question. He says, well, I had a wholesale operation and I ended up running it all by myself. And I'm a director of acquisitions at my brokerage. So I was like, hey, we're looking for a dialer. We're looking for people to dial. We're looking for lists to call. Yeah. He says, hey, I'm willing to partner with you if you take this off of my plate. And I said, that's exactly what I do. And here we are. We have 3 people calling. We have 2 people getting data for us and helping us with technical support. And we're moving forward. We're moving in the right direction. That's just happened recently, developed in the last like 4 weeks.
It's just so cool how the journey unravels. And like you were saying, leveraging other people's talents, their resources, their previous skill sets, because to build this out singular by yourself, like you said, it's a lot of money. So, and a lot of times when you're starting off in this journey, you don't know what you're going to like or be good at. And you don't want to spend all the money on all the different systems because you don't really know what you're going to niche with or what you're going to like. And then that way, I feel like it's a nice push and pull and just leveraging what other people are doing so you can wedge yourself in. And just exchange like expertise and all the things. And that's what this community is about, is using our gifts that are given from God to better the community and solve problems creatively and work together. And so, yeah, this
Absolutely.
is awesome.
Yeah.
So let's get into the deal. Samantha, do you want to start first and tell us about, we were talking about a little bit off stage, and it's like, I read a little bit about it. I did my due diligence and checked up on you and just kind of like scrolled through a little bit. So tell us a little bit about it, like how you found it, who was involved, and just the Cliff Note 411 on the deal.
Okay, so it totally came by chance. I got it. I run Facebook, inbound Facebook leads. So it came in on an inbound Facebook lead. And it was a woman. She's a single mom. She wanted to get rid of her property. It was worth, so at the time we were looking at the comps. So Abraham Gray was involved in this. I asked him, I was going to sell it to him, wholesale it to him. Like, this was my whole deal. We communicated through the whole thing. Abraham and I met at the house. He was thinking like maybe like a 1.3, we were trying to get into a place because she wanted proceeds after sale. She wanted to have some kind of, it was like an ovation. It's a sub 2 with an ovation. It's a funky deal. So basically what we ended up doing was $1 million to her. And then after we sold, after construction costs, holding costs, we would split the proceeds 70-30. So when I went to go wholesale it to Abraham, I realized I never added like my wholesale fee. So I was pretty bummed when he was like, well, I can't do that. And it was fairness. Yes, absolutely. You're right. I didn't think like at the time I was going to wholesale, we were going to partner on the deal. So I'm like, well, I'm a GC. I was like, would you mind if I just took the deal? And he's like, no, absolutely. He's like, in fact, I'll fund it. He funded me the $100,000 to give to the seller. I love him. Freaking love that man. He's like just in my world.
Shout out to Abraham Gray. Like he's
Yeah.
cool. He's a good one with his flip flops on toilets.
Love it. I know I tried doing one in the shower for him. I was like sitting there like this with my flip flops on, hilarious. But yeah, like he's the best. He's the freaking best. So he lent to me, and then we are a GC. I don't know if I told you this. We're licensed GCs in Florida and Georgia. So we went in, we did the reno, and we just finished. We had the hardwood floors refinished, and we're going to list. So while we're doing the reno, kitty corner, a house with 2,000 less square feet than ours sold for 1.7. Our whole numbers, Kim, was 1.4. We were happy as shit with 1.4. Right. But then the house right here sold for 1.7, and it's 2,300 less square feet than ours. So We're like, oh my God. So yeah, so now we're going to list and we're going to pray and hope that it, like, again, I'd be happy with 1.4, but it's definitely, the comps went up as we were, and it's in a gated community. It's in like a really desirable neighborhood in Milton. It's got, the golf course and the pool with the bar alongside of it. It's got a lot of really good amenities that if I lived there, I'd be like, hell yeah. So I think it'll sell quickly, but we just literally got done with the hardwood floors and we're going to list like next week. So I'm excited. So that's kind of how it all came about. And I love it. Like I said, he lent to me. I just pay the interest only loan. It balloons out when I sell, and I'm going to take that and move it on to like maybe some Airbnbs in Florida. Like as soon as I saw him moving to Florida, that's my whole thing. I'm not really happy with Georgia. I haven't found my Midwestern woman can understand. Like I haven't found my place here in the South yet, I'll tell you. Not yet.
It's got bipolar weather there in Georgia. One day it's like 80 degrees with 85% humidity, and next thing you have a snowstorm.
Dude, and the people here, it's the people, Joe. It's the freaking people. Like you get used to like Midwestern people are kind of like, I don't know. I can't explain it. It's more like, I don't know, like the Karen syndrome type down here.
You say syndrome? There's a Karen and a Kevin syndrome now, but not in the gated communities.
It's worse there.
Girl,
there's a Facebook group. There's a Facebook group for this community, okay? And you go in there and they're bitching about
maybe you should disclose that before someone.
You're right. It's great. Everyone loves it.
Don't give them the playbook. It's a great place to live, people.
That's right.
No Karens, no Kevins, golf carts. It's fabulous.
You're right. It's amazing.
At the bar.
You should love it. Pay a bunch of money for it. You're right. You're 100% right. But yes, that's kind of where I'm at with like being in Kennesaw and just kind of like a total. And it's funny because my husband even told me.
Oh, Kennesaw. Now it all makes sense.
Yes. I love the remoteness of up north, LJ and Jasper and being in the woods. But then I realized I'm like a girl who likes to have DoorDash and Uber Eats and things like that. So I couldn't get that up north. So then I moved to Kennesaw thinking, okay, this is like a good, but no, Like even like everyone around me, I'm just not happy. I'm not happy where I'm living, but that's okay because I'm like changing that. You know, like you actively change.
You don't
it.
have to be happy where you live to do deals where you live. There
Sure
you
don't.
go.
Sure
That's
don't.
that's a good point to point out to everybody, right?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Take that spread and scoot over to the next state. There
That's
you
what I'm
go.
you
doing.
go.
I told you I got that one in Fleming Island, so I'm moving on down to Florida. I know it's like weird, but that's where my partner is, and she is like my life. Jess, she's the one who got me into sub 2, and she's the one who kind of really she gave me the thing. She's like, see what you can do with it, and I just ran with it, and I took imperfect action. Imperfect action. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I just kind of called people and whatever, and then like based on my inbound ads, I was just kind of like. It's just when you talk to the right person, you can't say the wrong thing. You know, you can't say, don't feel like you have to overanalyze everything because you don't have to know everything. When something comes up, be like, hey, you know what? My partner deals with that. If I can just kind of get you on a call with them later, push that shit off. Like you just do what you can do, but without taking action, sitting there overanalyzing everything, you're not going to do anything. You have to take action. Even if it sucks, even if you suck, you learn from everything. And I learned. Like I had a buyer try to go around me on that Jacksonville deal, but luckily my seller was super honest and called me and told me about it. Like there's a lot of little, so now I always file memorandums. Always get a memorandum when I get a contract. That is my point is that you learn, even if you don't know everything, you learn as you go. And sometimes it doesn't cost you anything except for the experience.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, that's one of the things that people do is they get stuck on the analysis paralysis, right? And that's that. I love that point, Samantha, is that you're telling people that whatever it is that you are learning right now, you have to actually physically do it in order for it to stick.
Right. Right.
That's absolutely right. Yeah. It's like I've told people before, like, yes, you want that seasoned ICU nurse by your side when you're coming out of surgery, but you never know how good the newbie is going to be either because they have a different skill set. And if it's not your lane, like you said, if you don't know the answers, you can have the resources and tools to get the answer that they need to make them feel comfortable. I always just say, not my lane, but I know someone that drives in that lane.
And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with telling people that. You don't sound stupid. You sound actually better because you're like saying, you know what, I don't really know that. It's my partner deals with that. There's nothing wrong with that. I've never had a problem.
Being authentic and transparent, it will always win nonstop. We had a class in ethics and healthcare, and the lawsuits went down by 98% if you just said, hey, I'm human, I messed up. Because in my profession, you can't fail forward or people die or there's catastrophic events. And so like that is kind of foreign to me, transitioning from healthcare to investing, because I have that like different kind of mindset. And so like when you're dealing with things, it is okay to be like, okay, I don't know that, but I know somebody that does. Hold that thought and then just pivot with purpose and then just keep it rolling. So awesome attitude to have. And so Joe, let's go down to you. Tell us about the deal that landed you on here, a little bit backstory about it, and just like the Cliff Note version. And here we chime in, Tina. Thank you for saying that about the newbies. You never know the knowledge they can bring unless, totally, Tina. I agree. You never know what you have in your wheelhouse if your bandwidth is like super small and you're always questioning, because so many people, they bring experiences, they bring wisdom, and as you can like utilize being a parent, being a business owner, being a nurse, there's so many ways that you can leverage experiences to apply them. Like Pace says, tell a story. If you can tell a story, then you can explain it. So speaking of stories, Joe, let's hear yours.
Stories. Yeah. So I actually got this deal through another real estate agent in my network. So long story short, I was kind of, reaching out to people because I had just transitioned my team members out of my team and started to, basically rebuild from scratch. And so I had team members that were deal finding for me, and I was, basically underwriting them and closing them for them, and then, helping them close. And then, we would get those deals into contract. But once we kind of shuffled that out, I was kind of left to do all the production myself. Reached out to a couple people in my network, see if they were interested in any deals. But the key thing is I was armed with a new tool in my belt, right? And I said, hey, are you having any trouble selling deals right now that I can help you sell? Right. And so one reached out. She's a good friend of mine. We have a great connection. And she said, hey, I got this deal in Vegas. I just took my real estate license in Vegas, but I don't have all of the things set up, so I can't list it on the market. Can you help me sell this? It's a family member. They're wanting to retire, so on and so forth. So I said, no problem. I got you. And so I went to work, and at that time we were still using the Discord, but now we're using Kajabi. But I put it in the specific categories that I thought it would fit in our chat groups. And then I just had to, vet it out and let people come to me and see if there were real buyers or daisy chainers or connectors or, stuff like that. And then I narrowed it down to like 3 solid people that, had made an attempt to make an offer on it. And I brought those to the table. One was a creative offer. I really wanted this one for her because she just inherited some money and she inherited a property that was really run down. And she was like, I can't live in this property while I fix it up, but I need a place to stay. And this one is more turnkey. So one thing led to another. We presented a really favorable creative financing deal, but the seller couldn't wrap their mind around the creative part. And so we tried to, explain it different ways, show her how much she was going to net versus have to pay in capital gains tax, all of this stuff. And it didn't end up working out. And, she ended up finding another place that was a better fit for her anyways. 2 people came in with cash offers, went to those 2 people. One came in higher. And we went with the one that was higher. They did not perform. So we went through one creative offer, then a non-performing offer. And, most people would go, hey, my hands are in the air. We're going to have to find a realtor in the traditional way and sell it on the open market. But I went back to that third cash offer. His name's Luis Monero. He's also in the sub-2 community. And he was like, no, I want this deal. He was like $5,000 less. And I'm all, hey man, I was able to negotiate a $5,000 discount, but we're still at $5,000 above where you were originally at. Can we get the deal done and make the deal work? And he checked with his business partner, checked with his hard money lender, and we made the deal work. And he actually closed faster than our original escrow period with the last person who fell out. Through Kiavi. Kiavi stepped in with the hard money and was like ready to close in 7 days. So we got them the price that they wanted. Me and my business partner made a $15,000 assignment fee, and the person, Luis, I think he is already wrapped up and has probably already sold that property. I haven't followed up, but I should do that now that you're reminding me.
Fantastic. I mean, it just goes to show you how when teamwork makes your dream work. It's an old saying, but it's so true. When it aligns, you can solve so many problems and do it with ease and smoothness. Like, yes, it can be up and down from opening escrow to closing, but when you have the right people in the right place at the right time, magic happens. I mean, and that sounds like, and everyone won. Everybody got what they needed out of the actual deal. So kudos. That sounds.
Yeah, and the seller walked away with $400,000 cash.
Nice.
We did negotiate to where the buyer was paying the seller's, escrow fees and title fees and all that stuff like that. So less a few taxes and everything like that. They walked away with $400,000 cold hard cash, which was exactly what she wanted.
Right. Yeah. And it just goes back to what Pace says is you need to solve a problem. If they don't have pain and you're not solving a problem, what is their motive then? They don't really need to. So you need to be using the right strategies for the right structure in order to have everybody win. And it sounds like you just executed that with just good job. Awesome.
Yeah,
you guys are like so cool. Like this is like the circling question always. Were you guys at Squad Up? Because like I missed everybody apparently. Did you guys go? Because I went. Okay.
I was not able to make it. No.
Yeah, wasn't able. We just bought this house actually, so we were like, okay, we're gonna save all of our money that we can to spend on the reno on this. I'm glad we did because we needed everybody.
And now you're going to be moving over to the state that looks like a boot. Ours is a mitten.
You're gonna say a boot. I'm waiting for some. Okay, yeah, sure.
Or a gun. One of
Yep.
Sam's big. Did you see the comment here? One of Sam's
Yes,
biggest
I
strengths is
love
she connects with everyone all the time, newbies and pros and everyone in between. And you have to, because you never know. A lot of times I'm on calls with people and I don't ever do deals with them, but I end up coaching them, or I
Yeah.
tell them about Ironman. Like I have Derek doing a half Ironman. Like the moderator, he drank the Kool-Aid at Squat Up. Like you never know what's going to come out. You might be able to solve a problem, something else. Like there was
Yeah.
a Florida investor. There was a woman that was coming out of a horrible physical abuse case with her husband, and she started fundraising to bring the community together to help her get money so she can be on her feet. Like this is what it's about. Like those intimate conversations of, it's not just about real estate, it's about utilizing everything that you have in order to help out everyone. And it just goes so effortlessly. And we have a comment here, grew up in, what is that name? Kennesaw? Oh, okay. That's Georgia talk when you see the Freddas and the
Alpharetta's where my house is. I'm in the house that I bought is in Crooked Creek subdivision in Milton. So now I live in Northeast Georgia. Like, are you talking mountains Northeast? Because that's where I wanted to be. That's where I should have been the whole time, because
not by the Crooked Karen Creeks.
Crooked Karen Creek,
No
exactly.
Karens.
Dude, if you saw this face, it's just it's the best subdivision ever, and you all should move to it.
So what are you guys' plans next, Samantha? What do you have going on, short term, midterm, long term? Shout out like what your plans are, where you see yourself going, if you need anything in your business currently.
So we're just looking for like maybe private money lenders. We're doing a lot of deals. Like we want to do Airbnbs, want to do buy and holds. We eventually want to do a kid farm. We call it the kid farm, where we want to get acres in Florida, and we want to make it so like when there's a lot of like issues with kids these days, and I think it gets fluffed with all the politics and bullshit, but there is an issue with children getting taken from their like homes, and before they get put into foster care, it's like they're put in this like it's just not a good environment. So we were trying to do something where we had animals and we could show them how to grow food and all these things. Like we're trying to do, we call it the kid farm, but I'm sure we'll find a nicer name for it. But like something before the kids transition into like a permanent foster home, or maybe like temporary housing, and keep it all in. We'll have horses and sheep, and like we'll grow food and show them like all the night and how to be kind, and like that's kind of our end goal. That is our total end goal. In the meantime, we're trying to pick up just kind of like Airbnbs, maybe in Florida, use them every once in a while, rent them out every once in a while, kind of try to, but yeah. So we have a couple like things on our plate that we're super interested in. And luckily, like a lot of people in the community reach out to me all the time, and they're always like, hey, we can do this for you or whatever. Like there's no matching the support that I get in the subject community with anything else in that I've ever seen, like ever. So
yeah. And remind me to connect with you off screen, because I have a couple connects for you in Florida with the person that is doing kind of the same thing that you're doing, but on a different kind of level. Okay. And that's what I'm doing too, is combining my passion with profit too, and the philanthropy kind of mindset and being of using my nursing skills to have like care compounds, as I call them, HUD-VASH and residential assisted living, foster special needs, because I have a special needs goddaughter. She's in a hospital in Virginia, and it's the only hospital in the whole US, and she can't go home because there's not a place for her that's safe, and her parents need respite. So I made it my mission that I eventually will find a single family home for respite for these kids, like you say, that are in transition. And this is where magic happens, is taking what we're learning in one mentorship and applying it out in the community. Like this is what strengthens families and can change futures. Like you can literally be it's like gap funding. You can be that gap funder in someone's life.
Gap funding for life. Exactly. That's exact. Oh my God, I love it. I love you. I will definitely talk to you off of this.
For
but yeah,
sure.
That's exactly. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And how about you, Joseph, Mr. Cohen?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just, looking to scale my business, continue to grow, eventually hire myself out of all of the positions to be able to be, more focused on the life of abundance and philanthropy aspect of entrepreneurship, I believe that there's a big need for somebody who has that face of the company aspect, where you're going out, being a part of the community. What's the engine is behind you is your businesses that are helping you fund those programs, get into more philanthropic situations. I have a kidney disease known as polycystic kidney disease, and I work really closely with the PKD Foundation to really be on top of the advancements that are going on, not just for myself. I'm blessed with health, and I'm blessed with the knowledge from my parents, or my father specifically, who already went through a lot of the things that go on with this disease. I knew what not to do to get myself as healthy as I am today, and I want to pass that down to the people in the younger generations, because when you're young, you don't feel like you have this disease. If you're aware about it and you do the right things at a young age, it actually helps you have a better life as you get older from it. So I'm trying to really get involved with the adolescents of this disease and help them see that, because when I was diagnosed with it at 19 years old, it was like a death sentence.
I'm sure that's a lot to take in, because I used to do peritoneal dialysis in my first nursing job, and so I'm very familiar with everything. Yeah, so it is. It's a lot, and if you can anticipate problems before they actually arise, just like with a real estate transaction, right? Get all your team members, learn as much as you can, then you can pivot when things pop up, and it's not going to just completely just stop you in your tracks. So that's I love when people combine that passion with education, because I have a rare genetic disease called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and it's terrible. They're saying it's not so much that it's rare, but it's misdiagnosed. So that's one of my missions too, to use a vehicle like real estate investing so I can free myself up and clone myself and do what you guys are doing. So the bigger picture of it is helping others at a base foundation.
Yes.
So you guys are my people.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Because that's the thing is like, life isn't over when you have a genetic disorder, disease, mental disorder, whatever it is. You just have to figure out what you can do in your lifestyle that will just, slow the progression down, or make your, mental state better. So it's just about being aware. And that's what I want to do, is create awareness. But the way to do that is through achieving my KPIs. And my KPI right now is to develop this acquisitions team, to get them up and running, to be able to have consistent deal flow with wholesaling, because we're licensed agents. We can take a rundown project and not fix it up, just put it on the market, but let the seller accomplish what they want to accomplish, let them move on with their lives, and then still turn a profit at the end of the day, and then do more fix and flips. We have a unique opportunity in the baby boomer era that we're in. There's a lot of transfer of wealth happening. Yes. And a lot of those baby boomers, they didn't necessarily have the resources or the means to keep the property up, or know what to do with that property after their parents passed away. So this is an amazing opportunity, and I'm talking for statewide, nationwide, right? We're in a big transfer of wealth about to boom, and pay close attention, because people are trying to doomsday predict. The real estate market isn't going to be crashing. It's going to be our money and our stock market that's going to be crashing. It's not going to be real estate, because if something happens with our dollar, real estate is going to be the only tangible item that's going to be worth anything. Right. So commodities like gold and silver and all of those things, you want to be in those types of things. Real estate is the number one best investment body that you can be into and be protected from any type of economic storm. Look at how many billionaires were made out of 2008.
And out of
came off of COVID.
Right, exactly. And like, things will fluctuate, markets will change, and that's why it's important to have exits to your exits, and have your war chest, and have your box ready in case something goes down. But if you can solve a problem and then monetize and monopolize off of it, and have it be recession proof, AI proof, Amazon proof, and shutdown proof, and to me that's trades, real estate, and like medical, then you're good, because people are always going to need those essential services. And then if you can roll them up and buy by your liabilities combined with the real estate, like the silver tsunami and the need for, we're 1.3 million beds short for senior citizens. If you can solve those kind of problems and attach the business to real estate, hello, you're going to survive like the apocalypse. Like we're for sure.
100%. So we're always looking for private money partners. We offer great returns on our gap funds, but ultimately my goal would be to eventually eliminate the need for hard money and just be working with private money partners and helping them make double-digit returns on their money.
Of course.
I just saw on Sub2 Pace, I didn't even get to read it in its entirety. I sent it to my partner. I'm like, have you seen this? And it's something about, it's a whole new lender rollout. So I'm excited to see that. I'm never on the Zooms. And I just told myself today, I need to do a better job at getting myself out there because I'm not on the Zooms very often because I'm doing all these other things.
Yeah.
But yeah, and capital, having restrictions to capital, that's like everybody's problem.
It's everything. It's everything.
100%.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think it's also too that, people aren't positioning themselves properly to get that capital.
They'll be like, I need $100,000 for this house right now. And you'll be like,
yeah, okay, what's in it for me?
Thank you. Exactly. I think that's all the time. And I'm like, okay, like I know what not to do.
Yeah. Well, and I'm a lender myself, and it's not until you have to execute those exits and like you could start off with 4 exits and be down to 1 and have the market completely tank, like New Orleans, right? Like when I unload that, I did a really good job at it, but you can't control what happens to the market. And so you need to be able to pivot and be like, okay, what's my exit? Maybe, and if you ever use an exit, like care homes are very underutilized because they're protected under the Fair Housing Act, the FHA. So if you ever need a good exit, you can always do sober living. You can also do residential assisted living and do the modifications like to their home. There's ways to be out, but think about that first, right? Because you don't want to put your lender in a spot where they're going to be waiting on their money and then making sure that they're secure in a good position. You have your promissory notes, your deeds of trust, your personal guarantees, your escalation clauses. There's so much to lending, and not to mention like usury laws and all the other things like that you don't think about that are state specific. So yeah, it definitely is. It can be tricky, but if you're working with the right people, like the powerhouses and the newer people, like I always say in nursing, you always needed that sapling, that like new tree that was ready to take on the world and like happy. And then you need your oak tree who's stabilized, and you need someone in the middle. And that's where you can find it. Everyone has different strengths. And by having these conversations, they'll be like, oh, Joe needs money. Oh, Samantha's she's going to do this in Florida. So, and that's what I love about these interviews, because you get to meet people organically and just have these conversations and they just roll out. It's awesome. Very cool.
And like, it's crazy too, because I hate owing money. Like, I hate the fact that I have that. Like, we pay Abraham a month in advance. Like, you can ask him. We always pay our thing a month in advance because we don't want no bullshit, no problems, nothing. It sucks. That's like a mentality thing. It's a mindset thing. And it's my thing. Like, I should just totally be doing it. But I always feel like, oh my God, I owe this underlying like amount, and I feel pressured. But like, it's not like he's pressuring me, but I always make sure I paid in advance. Like, owing money, I just have to get used to that, because it's all about.
I understand completely. And we'll definitely have to switch Abraham photos, because I went and saw his house in Michigan City, Indiana, and I got up on the nasty toilet with flip flops, and I was like,
I love Michigan City. I used to do a bunch of like project management in Michigan City.
Really? Oh, wow. Okay, so I'm not too far from Michigan City. I'm like right in the corner by Bridgman, Berrien Springs, St. Joe.
I grew up in Portage.
Yeah, which one? Portage,
Indiana.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I taught CPR there. Yeah, it's right. My kids were born in South Bend. Like, it's Michiana, right?
Yes. Oh my God.
We're gonna be geeking out later. Yay!
Let's nerd out on Indiana. Everyone's like, no, you're shit.
Right. Exactly. So how can people connect with you guys? I see your Instagrams. Is there any other like websites that you want to drop or emails? Like, what is the best way to connect with you guys? By phone or your Insta, Messenger, Facebook? There's so many ways to connect. WhatsApp, all the.
Yeah, that's about it though. Like Facebook and Catalyst, like invest on Instagram, and then like Catalyst, GoCatalystGroup.com has like a whole like thing too. But yeah, mostly like Messenger and Instagram message, I'd say.
Okay, awesome. How about you, Joe?
Yeah, I'm on all the social media platforms, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. I just downloaded Snapchat, begrudgingly, but
Oh,
Yeah,
somebody told me that they posted one snap and they got a deal. I was like, oh, okay, now I got to do it.
really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's
Yeah. I was like,
okay.
Okay.
Different strategy.
Do you have
But I'm
somebody
also-
running it, Joe? Do you have somebody running your social media, or are you doing it yourself?
I've gone through a couple different social media managers, but right now I'm a little, I'm kind of doing most of the stuff myself. But I have a podcast called The Inspired Show on YouTube,
Cool.
and so you can catch me there, or you can catch me on social media. Joe Cohen Inspires.
Awesome. Very, very cool. So one last question for both of you guys. What would you say to somebody that's on the fence on joining, that has heard these stories, they're in the free creative community and they're just like, I don't know. Like what kind of advice would you give them?
Joe first.
Oh, sweet. I would say don't wait, because one, it's becoming a little bit more pricier every time we get down the line, right? But two, there's also the opportunity to bring a business partner in. So don't be hesitant when it comes to the ticket price, because remember, I just did one deal and made $7,500. So, I'm already ahead on my, a contribution. So I did partner with somebody else, another business partner that we do fix and flips with. I said, hey, let's join this community together. They'll allow us to, offset the cost that way. Mm-hmm. And now we're both doing deals, getting private money lenders for our fix and flips, doing all that kind of stuff like that. So just don't wait. Find a business partner. If you can afford it yourself, get in here now, because we're growing fast and you don't want to get left behind.
Yeah, and that's such a smart strategy, because that's what I did. I joined Gator first, met my business partner Frank, and then I joined Sub 2 last August through him. And then we're like, well, let's just see top tier, because might as well know everything. It's going to make you a better investor. So,
wow. So you got the whole thing. You got the whole three. Just right back
and like RN Writer and Mike Shop Workshop and Resident Assisted Living Academy and Grant. I just started investing when I exited nursing. I started investing in myself.
Yeah,
it was on the course of Ironman, Michigan, that I just started pouring money into myself. The first thing I did was I got a non-grantor irrevocable spendthrift trust, and I didn't even know what I was doing with it, but God told me, so I was gonna obey. And here I am teaching tax strategies to high W-2 earners on how to reduce their tax imprint, and speaking at events. And so I mean, I started off thinking I was going to be doing like short-term rentals and all these other things, and I've like literally morphed into more speaking and more teaching and consulting and all the things. And that's the beauty, is there's so many different ways to make money in real estate. You will eventually find one, or a team, or just by yourself. So that's
absolutely.
my 2 cents on joining the community. How about you, Samantha?
I would say just do it. You have to do it, because everybody inside it's a different mindset inside Sub 2. And you have to go in that mindset where you're not a W-2 worker anymore. You are not being told what to do by somebody every day. As long as you can get out of that mindset, say, you know what, I don't want to be told what to do every day by somebody in a W-2 job, and I have my own like goals and I want to reach them. And you go into the Sub 2 community, and everybody in there is just welcoming and wonderful. And if you have any issues, you just kind of come to them, and they're super judgmental. And it's just, I would say go for it. Do not wait, because I would not have been able, like I said, I lost my job in September. I joined Sub 2 in September, and by December I made $64,000. That was like half my yearly salary in a month. Okay,
that's awesome. Yeah,
seriously, like you can't.
I love that.
You can't and I will show you the HUD statements. Like, that is not bullshit. And I sold it to another Sub 2 member that I wouldn't have never met if I hadn't been in it in the first place. Alex Soto, love you. Tucson, Arizona, always buys all of the deals. And he even came through when somebody backed out on me. Like, bless his heart. Love him. So people in the community that I met that I'm just never, like Mac, he is my soul brother. I will love him forever. And I met him through the group. It's a different I don't want to say this, like, it's a different breed of people in sub 2. The one, you know, like, and I'm not saying it's the money they spend or
they all share the same vision.
drive,
right?
maybe.
Yeah,
Like,
we all share the same vision, and we come into these groups, and you're kind of speaking a different language. It's really like, if you don't know what we're talking about, there's a reason for that, right?
Right.
You're outside the circle, so get in the circle, right? Because it's not just real estate deals.
It's not.
There's
So much more.
businesses. There's
So
you know
much
you
more.
you're creating, like, just the challenges alone. I mean, I'm on the prop.ai challenge, and now I'm going to get deals from other people that have already bought the solution, and I'm involved with it. I don't have to put out of my pocket. I'm just going to help close, because that's what I do best, right? So there's just so many different ways and so many different avenues. I was coming in also in a panic mode, because I just lost a huge amount of money on a flip, huge amount of money on a private money loan. I'm I was on the verge of kind of like, throwing my hands up in the air, but then Terrence comes to me and says, "No, bro, I got you. Let's work on capitalizing your business and saving your other business from, the turmoil that it's in." So they're giving me peace of mind now. I'm sleeping better at night, right? So this is the community that we're in.
Yes.
When you're yoked with the right people, like I bought traditionally, I sold creatively. I was in Gator, and these people were not going to get across the finish line because they changed the ordinance. I didn't have an exit strategy because I was a noob. Like, I'm just going to do it. Right. But my now business partner, Frank's like, no, we're going to do a land contract and we're going to wrap it. And now they're going to be cash refied out. I just spoke with the MLO. And so now they can buy me out. And that was the first investment that everyone told me not to do it. I was so stupid. You're a nurse. You're this. And I'm going to probably make like over $100,000 combined with Airbnb. I held it, tax depreciation, and the payoff with a cosmetic flip. My first investment, this was before I was even in a mentorship. I just heard God's voice and I obeyed. Right? I was like, okay, gotcha, boss. Right. And that's the thing, is people give you hopes and dreams. You can be a dreamer again. And that's why so many people like athletes, is because athletes and people that are doing big stuff, they're big dreamers. And I think it puts us back into like our kid sense of like, there's all these different revenues now. And for the first time in your adult life, you actually can dream a little bit bigger, because you're hearing all these other visionaries and integrators. And it's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you so much. Seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and if anybody out there that's listening in the creative community, if you want your wins to be featured on here, like Joe and Samantha, please feel free to reach out to Taya. That's TAYA at pacemorby.com. And you can send in your wins, and you can be on this amazing, incredible creative show.
Yes, you can.
There he is.
Yes, you can. Yes. Joe, Samantha, oh my God, you guys are fantastic to listen to. Normally, and I have to say this, really, normally, all the shows are entertaining. Okay. All the shows are entertaining. However, oh my God, Samantha, you need your own show.
I hate being on camera. I've never taken a selfie in my life. I hate it all. But
like, oh my God. Well, Samantha, when you're
electrifying
talking,
personality.
Yeah, Samantha, like your brutal honesty and realness to life situations, and your improvising, like the way you speak and go about it's just like, it's contagious. I'm like, oh my God, her information is, and then the deals you've done, it's like you sound so trustworthy. And Joe, oh my God, bro, like I'm like, okay, what you talked about in describing your situation, that was a calamity, and then how someone in the community just came and reached their hand out. I hear that all the time in this community, like all the time, man. And listening to both of you talk about your expressive experiences with the community is where it's at. And of course, those listening are like, okay, here comes Derek with his rants. Okay, guys. I have to rant because I don't have your real estate experiences. Because I remember when Pace, I'm a guy behind the computer hitting the buttons, doing social media all day. I'm a geek. I love it. Okay. However, Pace is like, guys, I need you to get in front of our community and talk to the people. It's going to change your life. Trust me. We're like, whatever, Pace, just keep paying us every 2 weeks. Okay. Whatever, Pace.
Yeah.
And so I go to Squad Up. I meet this beautiful host in Kimberly. She's brilliant. Like, she's truly brilliant. Okay. I'm doing a half Ironman because of Kimberly's existence on this earth. It's the community, guys. It's the community. Samantha, I promise you, you're going to be a multimillionaire in this business, but you would, oh my God, you're so contagious and compelling to watch. And when you're explaining things, I'm like, I can sit here and look at her talk all day. This is, I'm serious.
We got to get you an HGTV show.
I love
Samantha.
you so much. I'm like so taken back by that because I don't do shit like this. I don't do anything like this.
No, really, I promise you, I'm a social media nerd. Okay, and this is what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
You have a white background. There's an alien on your wall.
Yeah, he's right there.
And I can't stop looking at you. Like, I'm serious. I'm serious. I'm not making this up, man. Like, if you get on the camera more and talk and tell people your story and what you're doing, it's the most real. Like, yeah, it's super
It's
unbelievable.
the Midwest, man. I mean, Midwest mayhem.
It must be midwestmayhem.com.
Yeah. So awesome, you guys. Thank you so much, both of you,
Thank
Joseph
you.
and Samantha, for being on here. And of course, oh my God, Kimberly, you make everything look so good.
She is. I love her so much.
You're so
Like, I love
smooth.
her. It's just love her instantly.
She's so amazing. But those in the chat that are watching all this, please, guys, reach out to Joseph, reach out to Samantha. Their Instagram's there. Harass them. I mean, drive them nuts. Okay. Contact them. These deals are real. People are making real money. People are their lives are being changed. They're meeting real people. Again, I can go on and on about the people I met at Squad Up who are being amazing in this community. Keola, the Kimberlys, and oh my God, there's just so many people that are just beautiful in this community. Caroline, oh my gosh. And then you guys talked about my man, Abraham Gray is just Mr. Flip Flops himself. Oh my God.
Yes,
Abraham
love him. Gotta rock it. Oh my God, love him.
Abraham Gray is amazing. He's amazing. So thank you guys so much for being on here. For those in the chat, we love you guys. Please harass Samantha and Joseph again. And while you're at it, touch base with Kimberly. I'm the social media nerd. If you need any advice, email me. But in the meantime, guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Derek.
Guys, see you next week.
So welcome.
Thanks, Kimberly.
Adios.
See you guys.
Bye.